Toss a coin to your Witcher because we're bringing Geralt of Rivia to life in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. This build is designed to capture everything that makes Geralt unique. His monster hunting expertise, supernatural signs, and deadly combat skills. Whether you want to hunt griffins, slay vampires, or intimidate bandits with your Witcher's Glare, this build will help you step into Geralt's boots. To make sure we're getting the full Witcher experience, we're setting this build at level 5, which is when characters start to feel like they're experts in their own craft. And because Witchers blend magic and martial prowess, we'll also be using the free archetype rule, which allows us to take the wizard dedication without sacrificing our core abilities. This lets us replicate Geralt's signs like Quen and Ard while keeping him a highly trained swordsman. We're gonna go step by step, just like you would when making a character in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, starting with Ancestry, background, and class, then leveling up all the way to 5th level. And don't worry, I will explain every ability in detail, showing you how Geralt is a true monster hunting legend. Let's get started. Moving on to step 1, we're going to select our ancestry and heritage. Geralt is a human, but not an ordinary one. Witchers undergo mutations to enhance their abilities, so we picked the human ancestry. For our heritage, we selected the versatile human. Witchers are trained in many disciplines, like combat, alchemy, monster knowledge, and even magic. To reflect this, we take versatile human, granting us an additional general feat at level 1. We use this to grab alchemical crafting, allowing Geralt to make potions, oils, and poisons, just like in the Witcher series. Next up, we pick the languages. Geralt has traveled across many lands and speaks multiple languages. As a human, we start with common and 1 additional language, plus more based on our intelligence. Our choices are common, because every adventure needs it. Dwarven, because Geralt has worked alongside dwarves like Zoltan many times. Elven, because elves play a huge role in the Witcher world and Geralt interacts with them. And Fey, because this covers his knowledge of magical and supernatural creatures. Next up for our ancestry feat, I chose arcane tattoos. Witchers don't use traditional spellbooks, but they do wield magic-like abilities known as signs. The arcane tattoos feat gives us the shield cantrip, which will flavor as Quen, Geralt's protective magic that absorbs incoming attacks. Moving on to the next step, we're going to choose our background. Geralt is trained to hunt massive and dangerous creatures. To reflect this, we picked the Megafauna Hunter background. This gives us ability boosts in dexterity for dodging attacks, and constitution for endurance in battle. It also makes us trained in hunting lore, giving us knowledge of various creatures, a perfect fit for a monster slayer. And lastly, this background gives us the Titan Wrestler skill feat, which allows Geralt to grapple or trip creatures twice his size, which is essential for fighting monsters like griffins and trolls. Moving on to step number 3, we're going to select our class. Because Geralt is a skilled warrior who specializes in tracking and eliminating supernatural creatures, the Ranger is the best fit, as it offers a mix of martial combat, tactical advantages, and survival skills. At level 1, we're going to start selecting our key features. Because Geralt is primarily a melee combatant, we'll be selecting strength as our key attribute. For our hit points, we get 10 plus our constitution modifier per level, letting Geralt be tough and endure brutal fights. We're also trained in perception, allowing us to be alert to any danger. For our saving throws, we're an expert in fortitude, allowing us to be resistant to poison and physical strain. We're an expert on reflex, allowing us to be quick on our feet and dodge attacks. And then we're trained to will, giving us decent resistance to mind-affecting magic. Moving on to our attacks. We're trained in simple, martial, and unarmed attacks, allowing Geralt to use his steel and silver swords. Next up on defenses, Geralt is trained in light, medium, and unarmored defense. However, he often wears light armor for mobility. We're trained in the Ranger class DC, which some class features are used to determine its effectiveness. Moving on to some of the feats we start with as a Ranger. We start with Hunt Prey. Geralt marks a target, gaining bonuses when attacking it. This represents his ability to study and analyze a monster before attacking. By focusing on his prey, Geralt gains the advantage in battle. Next up, we have our Hunter's Edge, and we're choosing Precision. When attacking his hunted prey, Geralt deals an extra damage die of precision damage. This mimics his ability to exploit an enemy's weak spot, whether it's a monster's heart or a vulnerable point in armor, meaning Geralt's deadly precision hurts where it counts. Moving on to step number 4, we assign Geralt his ability scores. Our final choice for ability scores are as you see. For strength, we have 16. For dexterity, we have 14. For constitution, we have 16. For intelligence, we have 12. For wisdom, we have 14. And for charisma, we have 10. These make Geralt a skilled melee fighter with survivability and keen senses. His strength boosts his combat prowess, while his constitution gives him the endurance to survive long battles, while wisdom and intelligence increase his awareness and knowledge of monsters. Moving on to step number 5, we're selecting our starting skills. We're trained in occultism because Geralt studies supernatural creatures and their weaknesses. We're trained in arcana for identifying magical effects and curses. We're trained in crafting so he can brew his own potions and oils. We're trained in stealth for sneaking up on enemies. We're trained in medicine for treating wounds and using herbal remedies. We're trained in acrobatics for dodging and quick maneuvers. We're trained in nature for tracking and survival skills. And we're trained in survival because it's essential for traveling across the continent. Moving on to step number 6, we're gonna level up. At level 2, we get our Ranger feat, our Skill feat, and our Free Archetype feat. At level 2, Geralt gains the Monster Warden Ranger feat. This feat improves his ability to resist special abilities of creatures he has identified. When he recalls knowledge on a monster, he gets a bonus to saving throws on its abilities. This is key for Geralt as he faces many monsters with unique abilities, whether it's a griffin's deadly talons or a vampire's charm. For the Skill feat, Geralt learns Arcane Sense, allowing him to detect magic without casting a spell. This feat mimics his ability to sense magical auras, which is useful for spotting traps, magical items, or dangerous monsters with magical abilities. Geralt isn't just a skilled fighter, he uses magic. With the Wizard dedication, he gains access to the arcane spellcasting tradition. This feat allows him to prepare a small number of spells, starting with cantrips. Geralt's signs are often considered low-level magic, and this feat gives us access to the magical tools needed to emulate them in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Moving on to level 3, we get a general feat, a skill increase, and will expertise. Geralt's Witcher physiology allows him to recover quickly. The fast recovery general feat makes him more resilient to damage, helping him regain hit points after combat or rest. Geralt's body heals at an accelerated rate, allowing him to get back in the fight faster. Geralt gains proficiency in thievery, which allows him to pick locks and disarm traps. This skill comes in handy during dungeon crawls or facing against enemies that use traps as weapons. Geralt becomes an expert in will saving throws, giving him greater resistance to mind-affecting magic. This is important as Geralt frequently faces powerful sorcerers, vampires, and other foes that rely on mental manipulation. Moving on to level 4, we get our Ranger feat, our Skill feat, and our Free Archetype feat. At level 4, Geralt gains the Twin Takedown Ranger feat, allowing him to make 2 strikes as one action while dual wielding. This is the perfect feat for Geralt as he's known to fight with both steel and silver swords, making each strike more lethal while fighting 2 enemies, or dealing extra damage to his marked prey. Geralt is also a skilled combat medic, so the Battle Medicine Skill feat fits perfectly. This allows him to treat wounds in the middle of battle, healing himself or others with herbal remedies, which ties into his potion making abilities from earlier. For the level 4 Free Archetype feat, I selected Basic Arcana under the Wizard dedication. Geralt's magic abilities grow stronger at level 4. Basic Arcana allows him to prepare more cantrips each day, making his signs more versatile in battle. This gives him access to more magical options in the future. And lastly, we move on to level 5, where we get ability boosts, ranger weapon expertise, a human feat, and a skill increase. At level 5, Geralt's physical and mental abilities improve. His dexterity improves for more agility in combat, wisdom makes him more perceptive, intelligence boosts his knowledge of monsters and spells, and charisma makes him intimidate enemies or influence others. Geralt becomes an expert in simple, martial, and unarmed attacks. This is a big boost to his combat effectiveness, allowing him to deal greater damage with his weapons and making his strikes more precise against his hunted prey. Geralt's ability to track and defeat monsters improves. In addition to the Initiate Warden human feat, we also picked up Keen Smell, which makes Geralt's Witcher senses sharper. This ability gives us imprecise scent, meaning Geralt can detect creatures and objects within 30 feet by smell alone. While he can't pinpoint an exact location, he'll know when something is nearby, even if it's hidden. Geralt has a reputation, and this skill increase lets him use intimidation to force enemies to back down, or make them more susceptible to his attacks, whether it's his cold glare or his battle-ready presence. Geralt knows how to use fear to his advantage. And there you have it. That's Geralt of Rivia, fully built in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, set at level 5 with the Free Archetype rule to capture his signs. With powerful swordplay, supernatural abilities, and expert monster hunting skills, this build makes for a versatile and deadly adventurer. At the table, this Geralt build excels in combat, hitting hard with precision strikes, analyzing enemies to exploit their weaknesses, and mixing magic and alchemy to gain the upper hand. Whether you're tracking down a werewolf through the woods or facing down a rogue mage, this build is ready for anything. Let me know in the comments what you think of this build. Would you change anything? Would you play Geralt differently? And if you want to see more fantasy character builds in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep on rolling.